Rarely will you see a college football starting quarterback build a friendship with the backup quarterback, especially in a place like Georgia. I can tell you right now that Jacob Eason was not friends with Jake Fromm. They may have been friendly, but they weren't friends. Jake Fromm was definitely not friends with Justin Fields. Stetson Bennett, I think, was friendly with Carson Beck, and I think Carson Beck was friendly with Gunnar Stockton, but none of those guys were friends with JT Daniels. You get where I'm going here. But after speaking with Ryan Puglisi not too long ago down at the Sugar Bowl, it is clear that he thinks the world of Gunnar Stockton. Here's what he had to say about Gunnar. He said, quote, "I love Gunnar. I love everything about him. He handles his business in a professional way. He's been the same person day in and day out. Being able to learn from him has been amazing." Now, that's a pretty impressive quote from a freshman quarterback, and it says a couple of different things. Number one, Ryan Puglisi is going about this the right way. This kid did not come to Georgia to transfer. He knew he was going to have to be patient, wait his turn, and learn. And it seems like he has built a little bit of a bond with Gunnar Stockton. And sometimes that'll happen between backups, right? Rarely is that the case with a starting quarterback and the guys behind him. But Ryan Puglisi has made it clear that he has learned a lot from Gunnar Stockton. And if you don't know much about Ryan Puglisi, you're probably not super familiar with this channel because we had clips of him in high school that nobody else has. We've been talking about him before he had a Georgia offer. The kid can absolutely play. The ball zips out of his hands, and he's going to make Gunnar Stockton earn the starting job. And I would be surprised if Gunnar wasn't the number one. I don't think Ryan Puglisi is going to pass him, but the kid is talented, and he's going to be right on his heels. The kid can absolutely play. He can move. He can sling it. Coming from a place up in Connecticut, kind of a private school area, not a lot of Georgia fans really knew about him until kind of right before he was about to commit. Unless you're on Dawg Post, you knew that he was coming to Athens to earn an offer. He did at Alabama too when he took the trips down there. We told y'all this kid was really good, and he is going about everything the right way. It also says that Gunnar Stockton, he's a team guy. He's out there, competing, working hard, developing, but he is a team first type of guy. And when you hear some of that from a guy who's playing right behind him, it really says a lot about Gunnar's leadership. And we continue to hear, right, even before he took over in that SEC championship game, that the locker room loved Gunnar. Not saying that they didn't love Carson. That was the leader. The team absolutely rallied behind Carson Beck. I know there was a narrative out there that the team didn't like Carson. I don't know where that came from. It's not true at all. Carson was the leader. That was Carson's team. But everyone loved Gunnar, and it's easy to see why. And we saw that kind of, playmaking ability against Texas, that warrior mentality. And again, I thought he played as well as he could against Notre Dame with a poor offensive line, no running game, and inconsistent wide receivers, and a scheme that didn't really allow him to open up and make plays with his legs. Ryan Puglisi can make plays with his legs too. He also had a lot to say about Mike Bobo. So if you're a Mike Bobo hater, maybe kind of close your ears for a second here because you're not going to like this. I asked, about his relationship with Mike and how much he has learned from him this year. And listen, this guy's well coached, right? He knows what to say. He's not going to say too much, but he did say, quote, I've learned a ton from Coach Bobo. Not a lot, a ton. He said, quote, he's amazing. Just learning from him and all the knowledge he has. He's been in the game for a while. It's been amazing learning from him this year. So, I know the fans don't like Mike Bobo, and that's their opinion. I'm not saying they're wrong. Mike Bobo's got to do a better job next year. There's no doubt about it. The offense has to get better, and it starts with the coordinator and the quarterback. But the quarterbacks love Mike, and they've got to do a better job too. And I think Gunnar has the tools. I think he's more than capable of leading Georgia to a special season. But I feel the same way about Ryan Puglisi, 6'3", 215. Dude's got a cannon. He's a really good athlete. He's mobile. He can move, size, powerful arm. He's smart. And I think he has a chance after Gunnar to be a really, really good quarterback for the Dogs. But right now he's still, doing his thing. He's waiting patiently. I think he's the solid number 2. And if anything, God forbid happens to Gunnar Stockton, or even if, they're playing one of the cupcakes and they're in the second half, game's over, I think a lot of Georgia fans are going to be really excited about what they see from Ryan Puglisi. So just a few quotes about Gunner, about Mike Bobo, from a guy that I think Georgia fans should really be excited about. I don't think there are many teams across the country in college football who have a number 2 quarterback, even, as a freshman, that the stack likes so much. I mean, Todd Monken went to go watch him throw in February in Connecticut in the cold, windy day and loved him. They invited him back down to throw for the staff. As soon as he did, they offered him, they pushed for his commitment, and they landed it. So that shows how confident they are in him. And I know Mike Bobo is really high on Ryan Puglisi as well. So I wanted to throw that out there. I also wanted to share some recruiting notes at quarterback because it's the most important position in football. And after Ryan Puglisi, you've got the 2 freshmen, right? Ryan Montgomery, Hezekiah Melinder, a local kid from Clark County. But after that, this staff's looking to land a big prize in the 26 class. They're going after one of the nation's best. They need to land one of the nation's best. I'll say that. It is important that they go land an elite quarterback in that 26 class because I think that guy, whoever it may be, has a chance to see the field early if they can prove they're better than Ryan Montgomery and Hezekiah Melinder. Of course, the big prize is Jared Curtis. You've heard me talk about him for months and months and months now, going back to last year. The kid's special, former Georgia commitment. His recruitment has opened up. I think right now the top 3 is probably Ohio State, Oregon, and Georgia in no particular order. I can absolutely see him committing or signing with Ohio State or Oregon, but I can see Georgia getting back into the race too and landing him. 6'3", 225, dual threat quarterback from Nashville. He's the number 4 quarterback prospect in the country. He's the number 1 quarterback. He got a visit from Kirby Smart, an in-home visit on January 23rd, and he's got official visits lined up already for the summer. He's going to go to Auburn in mid-May. I'd be very surprised if the kid landed at Auburn. If Jared Curtis goes to Auburn, it's not because he's going to be developed by Hugh Freeze, okay? It's NIL. That's the only reason someone's picking Auburn at quarterback over Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon. All right, so we'll see if Auburn can throw him a blank check in mid-May. But he's got Oregon June 6th, Georgia June 13th. Then he goes to South Carolina June 20th. Same deal. If he goes to South Carolina, straight NIL, bag. It is what it is. That's the game now. You got to adapt. And if the market for a quarterback is this dollar amount, Georgia has to hit it, because other programs are going to offer that, right? Bryce Underwood signed for $8-10 million to play at Michigan. Jared Curtis and his family are thinking, hey, the guy before us got this much. We're a top 5 prospect. We're the number 1 quarterback. Let's see what we can get. So at the end of the day, NIL absolutely matters, especially at quarterback. So that is why Auburn is in the mix, and that is why South Carolina is in the mix. But can't rule out Ohio State or Oregon until the very end. I still think Georgia is in a good position. He threw for just under 3,000 yards, 40 touchdowns last year with just 3 interceptions. The kid can absolutely play. He also ran for 637 yards and 18 touchdowns. He's legit. If they, for whatever reason, don't land Jared Curtis, look for them to try to flip Bell. He's out of American Heritage. He's committed to Texas. South Florida kid, 6'3", 190. And a massive year, 2,600 yards, 29 touchdowns, rushed for 560 more yards on the ground with 5 more touchdowns, led them to a 4A state title in Florida. The kid can absolutely play. He's been committed to Texas since June 17th. It's going to be a tough pull, no doubt about it, but he does have a Georgia offer. And again, if they can't, for whatever reason, or don't land Jared Curtis, which is totally possible, they may not land him. I'm not saying Georgia's getting him right now. I'm saying that they are probably going to be in the thick of the race and towards the top of his recruitment the entire way. That's what I'm hearing behind the scenes. But again, I can see him landing at Oregon and Ohio State right now, along with Georgia. Not sure about the other 2 in reality, unless, an NIL offer is just over the top, right? So Jared Curtis, Bell, Keyshawn Henderson is a kid committed at Houston that Georgia offered. He threw for 2,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, and ran for 7 more touchdowns. He's the number 5 quarterback prospect, the number 18 overall prospect in the country. So he's a guy with the Georgia offer, committed to Houston, okay? There's no comparison. Georgia is above Houston as a football program in every way, shape, and form, all right? It's just no brainer. So I doubt this kid ends up playing for the Houston Cougars. So we'll see if Georgia tries to push there. If they don't like their chances with Jared Curtis as their recruitment of him continues, right? Landon Duckworth is a kid I really, really like. He plays out of Jackson, Alabama. Another dual threat quarterback, just lit up the stat sheet last year. 6'3", 190, 4,870 total yards, 51 total touchdowns. He's the number 11 quarterback prospect in the country, number 130 overall. So could be, I don't know where these guys sit on Georgia's board after Jared Curtis, but if that guy is their plan C or D option, that's fantastic. And if Georgia lands Landon Duckworth, if that is the kid they get in this 26 class, Georgia fans should be excited. The kid can play, he can move, great athlete. So if they get any one of those 4 quarterbacks I just mentioned, I think it's an outstanding job on Mike Bobo, Kirby Smart, and the staff to get one of the best quarterbacks on campus and signed in the 2026 class. But this video, of course, about Ryan Puglisi. He had a lot to say about Gunnar Stockton, had a lot to say about Mike Bobo. He loves Georgia. He loves the position he's at, and he is going to make Gunnar Stockton earn the starting job. There's no doubt about it. The kid can play, and I think Georgia fans should be really excited about him and his future in Athens. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I'll see you over on the website.